The Living Museum, Center of Documentation and Research, galleries still, funds, our collection, educational area, commercial area, museum hall, stage night, or nights on stage, parade, area for community outreach, temporary exhibits, nights on stage at the museum, decoration and popular arts, arts and crafts, women prison program, next we have the presentation by MUAC. Hi. We are the University Museum for Contemporary Art, which is part of the UNAM University in Mexico City. We are located in the most important ecological reserve in the city. The museum was inaugurated in 2008 and built by the Mexican architect De Leon. We are one of the most important museums in Latin America. We want to build a history of artistic practice since the 50s. We have had exhibits from international artists, Anish Kapoor, among others. We have more than 10 exhibits, and they are constantly moving. We also hold workshops, conferences, concerts, among others. MUAC is strongly committed to the community via public programs. They perform projects such as MUAC at Home, Weaving in Santo Domingo, the Enlace project, as well as international fora. Now we will speak about my case. We have a new museography in the Carnaval Museum in the last 13 years. I worked with Alonso Fernandez in Chile, and we have covered this subject, which now goes to critical museums. And our museums are each time more alive. We have a physical space, we have pieces. I'm having sound issues in the interpretation booth. I'm sorry. We have a strong commitment with the community. We work also with people in Latin America, and we are also in communication with MUAC. When we are asked to work on this presentation, to do it jointly, not to have two separate presentations, the first question was, what made us become connected in our projects? And as a matter of fact, we found that it's not only in projects, but also in our way of working. As of the items that mentioned Alejandro, we also have a social responsibility as a museum with its surroundings. We have spoken about that along the week, and we have mentioned that the museum has a need, or it has a need, but also a responsibility to look outside of the museum, not only to look inside. And critical museography also speaks about how we reflect about our practices, how we link it with the outside, what we have mentioned during these last 3 days, and how these issues and situations that we experience outside of the museums also have to be part of the inside of the museum. We have a program in women's prisons which is called Carnaval. We work in 17 neighborhoods in Montevideo, and we work all over the country, but specifically in Carnaval, we work in a women's prison in Montevideo, at the National Prison. We train them. We teach them makeup and stages. We also teach them electricity and welding. This training should help them once they are released, and so that they can develop skills to defend themselves outside and to have new skills. We have internships. We are partners in a cooperative of art, and they have this is part of what happens outside, and the internships are really important once after they are released, because it helps them to become included in society again. Because they go back to where they started, oftentimes to have zero opportunities. And one of the persons, before I came here, one of the women released, established her own business. And we continue to hire people who are released, and we hire them to help us for parades and other festivities. We hire them. So, in the internship, we close a circle, which is a virtuous one. When we became aware that training alone is no good, we said, well, we have to escort and accompany these women, and it has given results. We also speak about work culture. This program has been funded by a National Institute of Employment and Education. There are workers as well as entrepreneurs and the state who offer funding for different training programs, people who are unemployed and so forth. But we also we teach them to be on time, we teach values, we speak about listening to the other person, and to learn about teamwork. We also have we teach them to be responsible for what they do. And to receive a certificate, they need 80% to pass. And the authorities, the educational authorities in the prison, decide if the person is able to work with us outside. Generally speaking, all proposals by us have been accepted. Challenges in the future, we have to maintain financing of the program. As I said, now there will be elections in Uruguay, and the authorities will change. And the authorities of INEFOC will also change. So this is the biggest challenge for us, because we want to maintain participation. In the prison, there are 500 women. Out of these, 120 participate in our program, and this will change year by year. And they become interns once they have sufficient skills. No escucho nada ahora. We lent original pieces from the museum to prep school students. They are 15 to 18 years old, and they take the pieces home. This is a project that involves we sensitize them in museography, curatorship, in order to change this structure we had of the museum space, because in the end these objects go into private spaces where they have a dialogue with the photography from the 15th birthday, from the Jaguar they bought in the state of Chiapas, and other elements at home. So the discourse is a different one. The dialogue occurs with the family, with the students, but what's important is also to see how the museum establishes an internal relationship which is pretty dynamic, and museographers not only are located in the gallery, but they go to the homes and the family meets them, the mother asks them, what do you do for a living? They offer a glass of water, and it stops to be a building, and they turn into people. We are people who work in the museum. And once a piece is at home, and that the students experience that they have to participate in a competition to participate in this program. We only loaned 6 pieces because it's a lot of effort in the museum. And once selected and the piece is at their homes, then they have to decide what will happen. How will we create a dynamics for that object? How will we establish a dialogue with the neighbors, with their own family, the parents, and the family becomes involved. It's really interesting to see how there also takes place a communication where the parents become aware about the interests of the children, and the children have to create a dialogue with the parents in order to mediate about timing, space, and who can enter the home or not. As I said, it's a private space, and they have to decide who will be let into their homes. It can be the family, the neighbor. We have seen apartment buildings where people don't know each other, but this program has helped them all of a sudden to go up to the neighbor upstairs and ask him, do you want to come into my home and let's talk about a museum piece I have there. We also had an extraordinary case of a girl who lived in a difficult area, in a marginalized area. And she wrote on a cardboard, do you want to look at a museum piece at my home? And she put it in the metro station. So all of a sudden I thought, how would I feel if I find a girl with a poster, do you want to come to my home and watch at the museum piece? But it was how it happened. And only a short while ago, in a talk I gave in a restoration school in Mexico City, it turned out that one of the students in the classroom had met Gabi, the girl I'm talking about, at the Museum of Geology. He was taking part in a concert, and I told him, Gabi told him, do you want to come to my home and watch a museum piece? And these are the anecdotes. When he told me about it, I said, that's unbelievable, but I saw how Gabi did create the poster, and well, so don't believe us. Let's listen to some witnesses. My mind opened up, and I'm thinking about what can I do once I leave prison in the future. What will I do? It was joyful and exciting for me to watch what we did at the Unit 5, and everybody will see it. I learned new things. I had an opportunity. I learned new skills for a potential job, and it was interesting for me to see what I'm able to do. I didn't think I was able to create that. And it opened up new possibilities, and people see that even if we are in prison, it doesn't mean that we cannot learn. I'm thankful for the opportunity the museum gave us. And people see that I made mistakes, but I can go forward, and they can see what I created. Now we will listen to witnesses of the MUAC program. MUAC at home left me a lot of questions, starting by how to talk about contemporary art with my friends and neighbors. I saw how difficult it is, and this made me interested in artistic practices. As of this project, I started to become interested to work jointly with my community to look for common interests and to build a common project. It was an experience that led me to see myself differently, and as of here, to create community. The work, and I also learned that everybody's work is equally valuable. I think the most important things of MUAC at home was to learn about empathy and teamwork. I know you must have thought that I'm dressed as the Pope, but not. This is a dress called a murga, and we won a prize, and it was made in the women's prison like this. And the hats you see over there, I wanted to bring them, and instead of hanging them on the wall, I wanted to wear them. This would add value to what these women do in prison. Now, I don't know if you have questions. We are more than willing to answer them. We have a couple of minutes for that. 3 questions, not more. I'm Laura. I come from Toluca, from the Modern Art Museum. My question is for MUAC. How come that how do you select the pieces that can be loaned to the students? There are certain criteria to start with. For example, size. The piece cannot weigh more than 100 kilos. And also what's important, the artist has to be alive and live in Mexico City or in the periphery, because he or she has to work with our students. They have to create a relationship with them. And these are the basic selection criteria. And later on, we hold a session in which the team invites 3 participants of the last editions to review the list of the collection. Then we have a session where each of them shows what his or her 5 options are. Those who have more than 3 votes and 3 pieces of the same artist, they are included in a list. And then we have a discussion, and we give arguments why this artist, why this piece. And in the end, we create a list of 15 to 20 pieces, which we have to match with the collections area. Because, as mentioned, this is a project that involves the entire museum, not only us. And with the collection departments, we look at the specific characteristics for mounting the piece, or because of safety matters, some pieces might not leave the museum. We are more interested in what the piece can trigger, regardless if it's a photography or an object or a sculpture. I'm surprised by your work. Congrats. For a question for MUAC. I work in the Natural History Museum, and our scientific collection is like, don't touch it, because it's taxidermy, and we will break the piece. The question, is there a follow-up plan in case one of the pieces is damaged? Well, jointly with the museography and restoration area, we visit the homes, because for the boys too, they have advice on light, humidity, etc. And they also take home tools, and they have to take readings on a weekly basis in order to establish the conditions. Therefore, we use pieces that can be held in these spaces at home, who have no specific humidity or temperature conditions. This is, we are planning for the 8th edition. We are promoting the project in the UNAM schools to participate. We have never had an issue of conservation or damaged pieces, because what is potentiated too is responsibility of the students. The students in addition to experiencing what management is, promotion, and becoming responsible of this object which they have at home. Now we haven't had any issues so far. In addition to the workshops you hold in the women's prisons, in the Carnaval Museum, do you have other workshops for the people? Yes, we have 10 workshops, different workshops. The Carnival competition is important because we have 6 weeks of Carnival. On a daily basis, there are competitions in 5 categories. We have makeup, we have also magazines, and Murga, which is my dress. And we have workshops for children or teenagers, adults, depending on the age. And we have 10 workshops, and we are creating new ones. And these workshops are offered to the community, above all the educational community. This is it. I'm Carlos from the Interactive Economy Museum in Congress. Thanks for sharing your projects with us. I wanted to ask you, how is the process of engagement? How do you involve the people in the women prisons to start with? Because at the museum, obviously, you make people fall in love when they come to the museum in order to become accomplices of the experience. But in prison, rules are different. So I'm really curious about how do you start this interaction? Very excellent question. As a matter of fact, we also have demystify inside and out. 13 years I've been entering and prisons in these projects, and there are many things which are not true, and there is a lot of natural interaction once you are inside. And the museum, when it starts with a project that was formerly done in another department in Uruguay, where there was a strong, important cultural movement which involved prison inmates in a general art movement, and everybody was able to participate. This is where the idea arose. And in our museum, we wanted to continue this project in the Carnival. We already are part of this prison project, and we look how we try to find out how we can call their intentions. When this project became formal, we worked a lot on the educational part, a lot. We worked with these people about the importance of the project, how we wanted to select the people, that it had to be an open offering. If in the beginning they wanted to participate 5 minutes and then leave, and this still continues to happen because there are people who are released halfway through the process, and our concern is how can we make them finish the process once they leave the prison. So it's an open, we invite the 500 inmates of that prison, and they although if they have something extremely wrong, then they might be excluded. It depends on the offense. And we have also museography. In addition to museography, we also teach welding and electricity, and sometimes they switch to other workshops. That's why it's important to offer continuity in this program, and this is our greatest challenge. It was a pleasure to meet you here. Thank you.